I'm your host, Leah.
And I'm your other host, Jordan.
We have a extremely special guest today.
She is a member of Late Night Hump, and she's a very funny improviser and comedian.
And she's a princess.
And she is a princess.
And she has no name.
Geographically specific Jasmine.
She has it all, folks. Brains, comedy, beauty.
Geography.
That's mainly it. And today her pants match her nails, which I think is the coolest thing ever. She looks great.
Thank you.
You look like very professional for a podcast recording. It's like very impressive.
I'm just here in sweatpants.
Ladies and gentlemen, Reena Ezra.
Thank you guys for having me back on.
Of course, we love it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on and watching this week's movie with me, so that
I did enjoy it.
we could have a more deep conversation with multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
Geographical perspective.
Yes. I'll bring you the PPOV, Persian point of view.
I love that.
I wonder what the Persian point of view is for bad education.
We're gonna find out.
Later in the show,
Yes.
I'm not jumping the gun yet. It's not that type of an episode.
Don't jump the gun or the shark.
Yeah, but
No jumping today.
that was a movie that was about a teacher and an administrator, I guess, or teachers and
Superintendent?
administrators in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hugh Jackman was the superintendent, and then
Yeah.
Allison and Janney was the assistant to him.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I was just trying to justify our topic for the week. I
Right.
knew what he was. I was just figuring out why we picked teachers as
I
the
missed
topic
that.
for this week. But that's our topic.
Yeah.
Our topic is teachers.
For those who don't know, every time we have a new movie of the week that we're discussing, we also pick a few movies each that have some connection, or not really, to the movie we're reviewing. So this week we are going to talk about movies that predominantly feature teachers, or I guess even if they're kind of like a side character or something, if they have a relevant part of the movie and they're not just like there, you know?
The plot hinges on a teacher.
Right.
Like, if the teacher is not the main character, they're enough of a character that they're involved in
They're
the
big
plot.
enough. They're big
very-
enough influence.
Yeah.
So, me and you said we were doing 5 each, but that's before we had Reena. So
Yeah,
how many
we could just cut it down to probably a top 3
Okay.
for each of us, because like there's probably going to be some repeats as
I'm
well.
sure, yes.
Yeah.
I was realizing there were not a lot of great teacher films. Like, there are great ones, but like there's not as many as you would expect, considering everybody has teachers in the world and everybody who is a filmmaker has went to school before.
I agree. I thought when I was looking through lists, I thought also like, wow, I thought I would have like a million to choose from, and I did pick 9 because I figured we would overlap. So, yeah.
Oh wow.
She's always prepared.
It's so funny that people say stuff like that to me all the time, because I always feel like I'm not. But thank you.
Well, it's the illusion that counts.
100%. Make a team. People are always telling me, like, you're so organized, and I'm like, LOL. Like, I feel like I'm the person that has, like, a 3-bedroom house, and, like, 2 of the bedrooms are just piled with, like, shit, and then the rest of the house looks perfect, and everyone's like, wow, your house! And I'm like, yeah.
You know, only walk into this one room.
Exactly. Oh, no, that's not the bathroom! Yeah.
Pretty dope that you have a 3-bedroom house, though.
I wish. I mean, I guess I do right now, but we're gonna have somebody move in, so that's not gonna last too long. But I don't need 3 bed. What do I need 3 bedrooms for besides my hoarding?
Probably the 3 beds that you would store.
That's true. Yeah.
Office, gym.
Gym. That's
But then that's not a
hotter.
bedroom anymore. You know? If you put a treadmill in your bathroom, then that's your gym.
Exactly.
But it also has a toilet. And a shower still.
Yeah, but
So
gyms
it is
have
your
toilets
entire,
and showers.
Yeah, you're right. A locker room.
You know, apartments in New York City have, like in one of the movies I think we're gonna mention, has the bathroom and the kitchen, and, you know, the kitchen on top of the tub.
I don't think I'm mentioning that movie.
I like ones that have the laundry room right next to the kitchen, or the laundry room in the kitchen, because that's European, or at least that's what they have over there. We do it the wrong way.
And then your food could smell like lavender.
That's my
Like
instinct.
it's moldy. Yeah, so teachers.
Okay, so Jordan, you go first.
Oh wow, that was very quick.
But you can keep up with me because you're an Aries.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay. I guess I will, could I do an honorable mention?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, I'm gonna do an honorable mention to start out. The entirety of the TV show Friday Night Lights.
Oh my gosh, another Friday Night Lights mention from Jordan.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I was just like thinking about it and I was just like, this TV show is just so much better than any movie that's been done about teachers.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like the relationships between like the coaches and the administrators and the students are very good. Like the Taylors and their relationships with the kids, I think, are very authentic to like what it's actually like to be a teacher and like what it's like to go through the perils of being a teacher, like whatever happens. Like they dealt with like inner teacher dating, they dealt with like investigations, they dealt with like issues with the students and just the best ways. And like I feel like it won't really be done better in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
At least from the teacher's perspective. Yeah. Because like most high school movies and school movies are done from the students' perspectives. So like you get a feel about school, but it's not centered on the teacher. Yeah. But that's just an honorable mention. We don't have to keep talking about it.
Is it on anything right now?
I don't know. It's probably on Peacock. Maybe
I know,
not.
but that's not like valid right now to my interest, you know? Like I need
That's
some
not an
time.
option.
I need some time to get like like I need some mental space before I get Peacock, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I already have 7 other things.
Well, did
I
NBC
understand
Universal
that.
like dump Friday Night Lights? Because then it went to DirecTV.
I'm gonna
I
go
don't
to
know.
my trusty resource where I find out things are streaming.
Oh, do you want to give it a plug?
Realgood.com, REEL, get it?
I'm on realgood.com.
They're not sponsoring us, but I would prefer if they would, so call me.
Yeah, and if any of you guys at home who would like to sponsor us, just Venmo us in your free time.
Yeah.
And we'll say whatever you want, except Nazi propaganda. That's the one thing we won't say on our podcast.
Hey, speak for yourself. Oh, it's on Stars. It's on NBC TV everywhere. You're right, Peacock. It's on IMDb TV, which is also free. Yeah, so there's lots of options, everybody.
Definitely check it out. A lot of great actors originated there or got their big breaks there. Like we were just talking about Jesse Plemons.
Hell yeah.
Who else is from there? The guy who
Kyle
plays Tim
Chandler.
Riggins is on that show. What's his name? He's so good. What's his name? It's gonna piss me off. The guy with the long hair that looks like...
I don't know. I haven't watched the show.
But
But I do know that every time Kyle Chandler's in anything, everyone's like, oh, it's the coach, it's the coach. And I'm always like,
Taylor Kitsch.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
oh.
Yeah.
I'm always like, damn, I need to watch this show.
He inspired the long hair Jordan.
Oh my god, long hair
Tried to
Jordan
be
is
hot like him.
honestly like when the first time I saw you with short hair, like I was blown away. Like I was like, this is a different person. Like you're a
Very
good
different.
chameleon.
Yeah.
Hear that, agents? Casting directors. All right, Reena, would you like to go?
Oh, yeah, sure. I will go with my least serious one, but super fun, and I love School of Rock.
Ooh, good one.
Because it's a classic, and it's also a very feel-good movie for me, and love Jack Black and Miranda Cosgrove when she was a wee bit girl, when she was, like, you know, younger, and just also where you're able to cast just a bunch of young kids who each already bring a character to the screen. I don't know, they either had, like, it was just unique. It was like when they made music, or when you just saw like, you know, also the relationship that they had with the teacher. Is it very realistic? How like Jack Black got the job? No, but sometimes you don't watch movies for reality. You just like getting lost in it, and it's very It was also oh gosh, what's her name? Who plays the principal? Cusack, Joan Cusack. I
love her.
Love watching. It's
An icon.
Yeah, so that's my pick.
Have you seen her as Debbie in Addams Family Values? With the blonde hair?
No.
She plays Fester's gold-digging wife, and, like, it's, like, a very
yes.
over-the-top,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. 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 She's also, I love her voice. It's definitely signature, because when she played in, or did the voiceover in Toy Story 2 for, yeah. It's just, like,
she's the best.
You just know it's Joan Cusack, yeah.
It's wild that Jack Black has been making movies for kids since, like, we were kids.
Yeah.
A long
like,
time.
School of Rock reminds me of, like, childhood, because I remember how big it was, and everyone loved it.
And then they made it into a musical.
And around here, there's the School of Rock music school.
Yes. Yes.
So I guess, I'm guessing that opened after the movie, but maybe not, I don't know.
But he's make adult movies one day?
Okay, they can also be for adults, like Kung Fu Panda, when that came out, and he did, like, he's just, as him as a voiceover actor, he's amazing. He's just able to whip it out and crush it.
He's just talented. Like, I love him in High Fidelity. I think that was one of his first roles. I love him in, what was the other one I was thinking
Orange
of?
County.
Yeah, I mean all the comedies, but I also really like him in The Holiday. Like, he just plays like,
oh yeah,
like he plays a much lighter, like he plays Jack, like diet Jack Black. You know, like he's a little bit more even keel and not so intense, but he still has his little bit of like his vibe, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And there's always Tenacious D.
Yeah, what's he up to? Like, what's his
He just makes
movie?
blockbusters now and just makes millions and millions of dolls.
Well, when he was in Jumanji, that was another
also the house with the
hard hitter
in its walls.
I haven't seen any of these recent movies.
Wait, is he still making Tenacious D?
They're still doing stuff. Yeah, it's a miniseries.
Post-apocalypto. Whoa. I did not know they did that.
In 2018.
Wow, actor, 157 credits. And he's only, what, like 50?
Yeah, he has longevity.
That's awesome. Good for you, Jack Black. Come on the show. Oh, he was in Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot.
Oh.
Remember?
Yeah.
That's probably the last, like, new movie I've seen with him.
That is a great film.
Goosebumps. I've been meaning to watch the Goosebumps movies, even though, you know, it's never going to be as good as the original, like, series that we grew up with, but I'm still curious. I do want to see it. All right.
Okay, what about you?
It's my turn?
Yes.
Okay, so like I said, I have 9, but the one I'm going to choose now is My Girl.
Wait, do you want to, like, run down, like, 4 of them in a row that are, like, bad ones?
Bad? No, I don't have bad ones on my list. I only have good ones. You have bad ones?
No, well, you know how it is.
You're subversive, Jordan.
I try to be.
I'm, like, just sticking to the script. I don't know.
It wouldn't be a good podcast if we weren't avant-garde.
We're very avant-garde. We're gonna do one podcast that's just all silence.
So why My Girl?
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Jordan, have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh my god.
I know, there's so many.
Well, I mean, I guess it's
just
more
sit
of like
him
a girl
down.
movie, but no, actually, it's for everybody.
Exactly.
Wow,
it
yeah,
is.
that's sexism to say it's a girl movie.
But I think as a girl growing up, like, this movie was just everything to me. Like, so it's about like a 12-year-old girl. She's best friends with Macaulay Culkin. And he plays a character. He doesn't actor Macaulay Culkin.
This is how Macaulay Culkin actually.
Yeah.
Well, I won't spoil the ending then. If
No, do not. But they're best friends. They're so cute. She's more of like a, I guess, tomboy, which I don't know if that's a sexist term now or not appropriate, but you know what I mean by that. And it's just like about this summer in the 70s. She has a kind of interesting background because her dad, played by Dan Aykroyd, in an awesome performance. That's a low-key, toned-down performance. He plays a mortician, so there's always dead bodies in their house because his office, or like his, I don't know what it's called, the area where they make up the bodies is in their basement, so she's kind of scared of it, she's kind of fascinated by it, and then her mom passed away when she was young. That's a huge part of the movie, and his dad starts dating Jamie Lee Curtis, who's like this freewheeling, like she lives in an RV, and she becomes close with Veda. Like, I always love that name too, her name is Veda in the movie, and it's also like it's just really well written, because everything is like complex. Like, it's not, oh, this character's this and that character's this. It's like they all feel like real people. They're very like full bodied, and
yeah, it's very honest.
Yeah,
it seems very
yeah. It's like a coming of age movie, and she's really like wise beyond her years, like most coming of age movies. And so she takes this English class, like I think it's like a poetry class specifically, over the summer with Mr. Bixler, who's played by Griffin Dunn. And she's like in love with him. He's just a normal, like, he's the teacher. He's not doing anything shady. Like, she's obviously 12. It's not that kind of movie. But like, you know, she just like loves him so much, and he does, you know, take like a liking to her as a student, and you know, she's like so sad when she finds out that he has like a fiance and stuff, and he handles it like so well, and like you could tell that it, like, the class really inspires her and is something that kind of like sets her apart from other kids and like keeps her going and like stimulates her brain, and you know, like, it's so cute when she like reads her poetry out loud in class and everything, and like all the other, like, there's some like hippie people in the class, and they're all like, right on, like, I think it's like for high schoolers, but she's not even supposed to be in the class, but her teacher's like, okay, whatever. Yeah. And it's just so sweet. It's such a good movie. I always cry at the end, and the sequel's okay, but this one is just like, it's a classic.
It's very relatable, because it's definitely, I mean, I remember being very young, probably like 7 or 8 years old, and when I went to camp, totally had a crush on this older man who was the counselor, and it wasn't anything inappropriate, but it was just like, oh my god, he's so like, I was craving for his attention, and then when I found out he was dating another woman counselor who was, I was just like, I was like, okay, I guess it wasn't meant to be. I don't know in my head, like, yes, where I thought it was going, but, you know, you're a young girl, and I mean, even when you're an older girl, but you dream, and you get carried away, and you get, like, and I was, am very introverted, so it's literally just stuff that I'm manifesting in my mind, and, like, never set out or whatever, but, yeah, when you just have those, I don't know, when you also have, like, adults that are very charming and that, like, can relate to you, and they also seem very young at heart, and he was very youthful, and they're just, like, fun to be around. That's what, like, caught my attention, so it's like, so.
Yeah, it's one of the greats.
Girls out there. I get it. Who's next?
I guess it's back to me.
Yeah.
We're not snaking. Okay. All right. I guess I'll go with a movie that I saw maybe 3 years ago. It came out. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. I don't know if did I talk about that on here before?
I don't think.
I've never heard of that.
Look it up. Look it up on your IMDb machine.
I'm doing.
Get a little.
Remind me, what is it called?
Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. Check this one out. It has a female writer and director.
Luke Evans, Rebecca Hall.
Angela Robinson is the director.
And the writer.
Yeah. And it's just about the creation of the Wonder Woman comics, which was like created by a psychology professor and his wife and one of their students, according to this half fictional, like kind of based on a true story thing. And it's just very interesting, because like, especially since all the superhero movies are coming out, it's kind of a look at the superheroes from a psychological and like a historical perspective, as opposed to like, we're gonna watch them be superheroes. Like, no, this is like, how did superheroes become superheroes, and like specifically, how did Wonder Woman become Wonder Woman? And in the film, I think there's a lot of like very interesting psychological concepts that are talked about. Like a lot of stuff about like being submissive and dominant, like in your life, in your relationships. And yeah, it just talked about a lot of stuff that I don't think I've seen in a lot of films before, especially the way it was talked about. And like I know I didn't know a lot about Wonder Woman, and like the creation of Wonder Woman, and how like the creation of Wonder Woman was like rooted in sadomasochism and like whips and chains and like sexual like lingerie and stuff like that. But it wasn't exactly how I expected it. Like, it wasn't as much that it was, like, used to sexualize her. Like, yes, it was used to sexualize her in the comics, but, like, also it was, like, she is going to dominate you and, like, use whips and use, like, brutal equipment to, like, win against people. Yeah, so it's a very interesting film. I just saw it, like, on a whim. It was one of the first movies I think I saw with my movie pass.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah.
The good days.
But definitely a film that takes place in college, but surrounds professors. There is obviously a problematic relationship in it, because there's a little bit of a love situation. Between a professor and students, yeah.
What we have here is a love situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me on a first date. So is this a love story?
Because I need to know.
That's so funny because I think there's so many things that you don't know about and you don't even realize you don't know about them until someone makes a movie and you're like, oh yeah, like where the hell did Wonder Woman come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
I think everyone just like chalks it up to the comics and like, oh yeah, from the comics, and that's it. But you don't know the origin before that or how did it come to light. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very interesting. I did not know that film, Jordan.
Yeah, well, sometimes I come up with good additions to people's watch lists.
You're enlightening us like a teacher.
Yes.
Like a teacher.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It is kind of funny. My dad is a teacher, and I never thought that I would ever teach in any regards, and now I'm like online teaching, which like my dad would say is like garbage, trash, and isn't actual teaching. Because you're doing it through a screen. Yeah, he's very old-fashioned as a teacher. He's all about connecting with the students.
Which I get. I totally understand.
Yeah, no, that is like how you're supposed to teach, like
it's
if there wasn't a
different.
Pandemic.
Yes.
And if it made sense to be around like 30 people at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a new era too of just even without the pandemic, like I do feel like you can connect with people over the internet. I mean, my friend Jess is actually in a relationship with a guy that she, for like 6 months, just talked to online. Like they met on Instagram, and now like they've been together almost a year, and like they live together now, and like they're so happy. And I'm always like, oh, I'm not gonna like find a guy on Instagram or something. But now she's like in this great relationship, so I'm like, maybe I shouldn't judge based on 5 seconds of information.
Yeah.
I mean,
we can't judge. We connected online.
Right.
Jordan and I via plug-in Bumble. You want to sponsor this? Yeah.
No, Bumble.
We should do a commercial.
Bumble may or may not be the site we use. They're not sponsoring us, so we will not endorse them until they sponsor us as a successful couple.
Then cut this out.
Yeah. Although, like, it would be kind of funny to think of, like, dating websites, because, like, people only think about the good things from dating websites, but, like, imagine watching a commercial that was, like, people talking about all the stalkers that they met on dating websites.
Yeah.
Because, like, you never hear about all that stuff.
Well, because it
only
doesn't
hear
really.
about the good things
It doesn't
from dating
because
sites,
they're trying to advertise
advertise
it, and that doesn't leave you with hope if you talk about all the negatives.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
But many people, yes, have had probably poor interactions.
It's like, before Reena, I had terrible dates at 3 different locations. This person would not leave me alone, followed me on Instagram, and did this, and that. Like,
I mean, not to brag, but yeah, knock on wood. I mean, I did not have bad interactions at all being, like, a woman on a dating app, and definitely meeting people at night at places I've never been, or going to their like things I should not have been doing, but I was always safe. So
yeah,
I can't say that happens for everybody, unfortunately. But yes, is it my turn?
yes.
I will gonna highly recommend this movie, but mainly toward Jordan, because Leah, have you seen Dead Poet Society?
Yeah. Of course.
Yes. Well, Jordan has not, so
Wow.
you need to be educated. You're not a true Robin Williams fan. I mean, you have to see many of his films, but many.
I knew one of you was gonna pick this because it's like the teacher movie, right?
Should I have waited?
No.
I just couldn't. I mean, it's the top of my list though. Like I had another one before, which I can mention later, but I'm sure one of you guys will also say it. I mean, feel free. Anybody else who wants to chime in. The Dead Poet Society.
What, you have an issue with live poets? So.
That was so great.
You want me to chime in?
That was so great. It's just like when Robin Williams is in a serious role or a comedic role or any way he spins it, like that, I miss him so much. Like he's one of him. And like he's one of my favorite comics of all time. Like that does like I mean I could just go on and on about him specifically, but they're just like the film also is I'm just like, hold on, let me check what year it was. 1989. So there are many male actors who like we end up like knowing as they got older, but like when you see them all young in a film together, Robert Sean Leonard, who is the other doctor in House, Ethan Hawke, Josh Charles.
I never saw House.
Oh my gosh, but there's like Dead Poet Society was just very empowering. It's like, the male teacher who really bonds with his students, the life lessons that he teaches them, and like just the entire interaction that they had, and like any of like this I mean, I don't know, it covers everything about like what you really dream a teacher would be for you. And like if you're lucky, you could come across those special teachers in your lifetime. And he's just like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I can't. It's like everybody like coming together as one, and they like operate as unit. Like it's just, it makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
It's not always warm and fuzzy, but
yeah.
the film, it's yeah, I don't know.
I love when he says, I can't remember the exact quote, but he's like, he's like, business and law and medicine, like, these are all important things, and they're noble pursuits, and, like, all that stuff is important, but, like, beauty and love and music and romance and poetry is what we all stay alive for. I feel like that's my whole, like, theory on life.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing that I will always remember a teacher who influences life and my life instead of just teaches me the curriculum, or instead of just gives me like, oh, you're just going to know me for this course, and these are the textbooks, and this is what we're going to read. We're going to go boom, 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 like over these things like a robot. Like if you have ones that actually, just the way they phrase stuff too, or they'll use examples, or they'll be very personal with you and tell you about stuff in their life so that you could relate. You're just like, oh crap, because it's also a scary time when you're that, I think, what was this, high school, or what was it? Oh shoot, yeah.
Yeah, it's high school.
Yeah, I don't know, when you're just like if you're a senior, or even if like you're a senior in college and you literally just don't, you have that existential crisis where you're just like, oh my god, I have to choose to do something, or like what am I, like you have, like you're meeting people in your life romantically, or you're trying to figure out what you want to do for yourself as like a job, or you're making like those friends that stay in your life or exit your life, or it's just through like all that mess. Sometimes it's a relief to have a teacher that is like a rock, that is somebody who you're just like, oh, okay, I trust this person, I can confide in this person, and they have like taught me something that I will take with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I love when teachers kind of like break the fourth wall of teaching, and they're not just like professional like teachers. I mean, as long as there's nothing inappropriate. I mean, I guess like people argue what is inappropriate, but I mean like obviously like sexually dating, things like that inappropriate. But like I definitely had some teachers that like I had one teacher who he was like like on the faculty, but he would like hall monitor in a certain area, and I would like cut class and go hang out with him, and obviously like what he was supposed to say was like, you need to go back to class, like you shouldn't be here. But it was more like, we're just two people, like I understand that you're struggling right now and it's really hard for you to just sit in math class and learn about shit you don't want to learn about, so like if you want to sit here for 20 minutes, like I'll give you a pass, like whatever, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like so strict. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I had another teacher she was my teacher in 7th grade, and then when I went to 8th grade, one day I had to like go pick up something in her classroom, and she was on like, I guess she had like a free period, and we just ended up talking, and then I ended up like going back there like multiple times when she would have a free period and just like hanging out with her and just like talking to her. And once again, like she probably was thinking like, I should really send this girl back to wherever she came from. Yeah. But like it was just like, yeah, there's rules and stuff, but it's not like it was so flagrant or it was like something to worry about. So, you know, these people in my life were just kind of like there for me, and sometimes that's more important than like, go to class, turn to page 5, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they treat you like a person, not just like a student, and they treated you also like an equal. I had a sophomore year of high school an English teacher where we would eat lunch with her in her classroom, like by her desk, and she would let us just like do whatever, or we would just like chit-chat about, it's like as if you were, you know, out at lunch with a friend. And then also my improv professor in college, which college is like another, because you are an adult, like you're a grown-up, you're officially like, you're now, especially, I mean, I commuted, but if you went away for college, like you are just forming your own being. And then as like a college student, it was like, yeah, I will never forget him. He's such a great dude who's just, I mean, improv also in general, where you're just like, it just opens your mind to so many other places, and you can just like, it doesn't matter like what you majored in, I met a total diverse group of people going to that class, and nobody was like, none of their majors were theater or like doing any of that. It was just very, he was like, so that's what I have to say. Mm-hmm. Go teachers.
Yeah. We just want to take a moment to thank all the teachers, especially the ones that are working right now.
Yes.
You guys are the fucking badasses of the world. Like, I don't even understand how you do it, and I know a lot of you guys are getting sick, and I can't imagine how scary it must be, so you guys are literally the best people in the world. Moment of silence for teachers. We love you.
No, you're alive and well.
We'll finally stop talking in the back of the class.
Well, I mean, I know firsthand. My twin, who's like teaching for her first year, to like hear firsthand about like the complexities or the new adjustments and like things that she's adapting to. Oh my gosh, my heart goes out to her. And yes, every other teacher, but I can't imagine. I mean, for them to virtually teach and in class, doing like hybrid at the same time, it's wild and insane, but they are incredible.
Heroes. Yeah. All right, is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to pick an adaptation of a book. It's like very much our generation.
Oh my gosh, nerd, you read books?
Exposed. I feel like this was a book that was so popular when I was in high school, and even when I was in like junior high, everybody freaking read it, and everybody would talk about it all the time. Everybody would quote it on their away messages, and then a few years ago, it turned into a movie, and it's The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
I had a feeling you were gonna say this one.
I love the movie. Like, I actually think I love the movie more than the book, which is rare, but the book is pretty short, so it wasn't that hard to adapt, whereas like a lot of other books, you know, if it's like 400 or 500 pages, they cut out so much, but I felt like this movie was really good. It was also directed and adapted by the book author, so it was like his baby, basically.
Yeah.
And I just think it's such a wonderful adaptation. It's a really, really great high school movie that isn't just a high school movie. Like, it's about a kid in high school, but it's more just about like what he has to deal with because of the trauma from his past and how that's affected him and how it affects him relating to other people. And he is kind of quiet and, you know, because of what's gone on in his past, and then he meets like this group of friends, and they are all like very close and very comfortable with each other, and like just very like they seem like a family, and they're like low key, and they have so much fun together, and they have all of these, you know, inside jokes and fun things that they go do. And so they introduce him to Rocky Horror Picture Show, and, you know, dressing up and doing that, and parties at each other's houses, and, you know, they have like a really fun Christmas together and all that kind of stuff, and it just completely illuminates his life in this different way. And then when he's dealing with some separation from them, a lot of his traumas kind of come back, because you know how it is when you're really involved with something and you're connecting with people, you are kind of distracted sometimes from the things you've gone through in the past, and he you know, has to end up facing some of that. There's a really awesome performance by Ezra Miller. I love him in this movie. Logan Lerman plays the main character. He's so good in it. Emma Watson is like great in it. I love her. I think she really played Sam well.
Yeah.
And
I love the scene where she comes out of they're driving in the tunnel, and or was it the tunnel? Or when she comes out of the above from the truck or whatever, out that little window, and then she's just, it's just moments like that where it's just like, they just seem like such a free group of kids, too, which is like, I felt jealous at times watching it. I was just like, I was like, I wish my, like, why didn't my friends, or like, you know, a group of us or whatever just like went wild and just did this, or did like, they had such trust and care for each other. I loved it. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's really great, and I think
Ezra's probably my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. I think his so character was my favorite in the movie.
Yeah, Patrick.
He does an amazing job.
He's phenomenal, and what was I gonna say? Oh, there's so many quotes from the book and the movie that are. It's like, I've heard them so many times now that it almost seems like cliche to quote them, because they're just so overdone, but it really is true, like, what he says about, you know, like, someday, like, these moments of our life, like, they're just gonna be, like, old pictures that we all look back on, and, like, but, like, right now in this moment, like, this is our life, like, we have to embrace that and everything, and I think about that all the time, because I used to be, like, more whatever about taking pictures, and I have a friend who's like obsessed with taking pictures, and it used to kind of like annoy me where I would be like, okay, can we like move on? We don't have to take 75 pictures, we don't have to stop at every like interesting thing to stand in front of it. And now, like, I've been friends with her long enough where I'm like, wait, I actually like love the pictures of us from like 8 years ago, and I'm so happy we have all of them. And now I feel like I'm even worse. Like, my mom like is driven insane by me every time we go anywhere. She's like, okay, like, we got it, and I'm like, no, like, someday you're gonna be like 80, and I'm gonna be like, you know, like, she's gonna be like 80, and I'm gonna be like 50, and we're gonna like look old, and we're gonna be different, and we might have like, you know, issues, and we can't travel as much, and like, I want to have these pictures, you know.
So what time frame do you think in? Past, present, or future? Or is it a combination? What time period is your brain thinking?
I think about the past a lot. I'm like very nostalgic. I think it's hard for me to be present in the moment. I try to get better at that. I feel like I used to obsess more about the future. Because I used to be like, where am I going to end up? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm always obsessing about the future. Yeah.
I used to have a really, like, irrational fear that I was going to become, like, homeless, that I was going to be, like, broke and everything, and, like, I was always, like, very scared of that, and I was just like, what's going to happen to me? I think probably because I was always, like, pursuing acting, and I wasn't, like, you know, okay, I have a salaried job and I'm on the team at the office, like, so I was kind of like, uh-oh, I hope this works out, you know, and now I feel like I've been through enough, and, like, I do have a lot of spiritual beliefs that connect me to, that make me, like, connect all my past experiences and realize how maybe I wanted different things at some point, but every point of my life has actually been this, like, story that's, like, as if someone wrote it, like, it does work out, and I know that's hard, because there are people right now that are, like, suffering and struggling, and they're like, well, I wasn't meant to be here. Like, I wasn't meant to lose my mom from COVID, or, like, I wasn't meant to lose my job and all that stuff, so I know that it's, like, very hard to believe stuff like that, but that's
also what people feel now. Because,
right.
like, I feel like a lot of people haven't gotten to, like, you go through waves, because, like, right now you're in a point where you're, like, looking back and you're like, everything that you've done got you to this point. But hopefully those people who lost their jobs and lost relatives see some light in the future and get to a point where they are improved by the situation. Because, like, I'd hope that everybody goes through waves, and it's not always bad for everyone all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Yeah. All right, Jordan.
Good selection, Leah.
I smoke pot, so I always live in the present.
The present's very slow.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited because I'm going to Massachusetts and you can just buy weed there.
Yes, you
like
can.
you can pick it up like on DoorDash, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's so I'm excited. I want to get like micro edibles because I feel like sometimes I just like need to have like a mint that everyone thinks is a normal mint, but actually I'm like, this is gonna tune out all the annoying shit you're saying to me.
I'm that way with tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have it in tea form.
Yes. Also, New Jersey Weed Man has a lot of interesting gadgets.
He does.
A lot
Wait,
of
is your
incredible
film
stuff.
about weed? Your teacher film?
No.
Oh.
No, I was just
You're just saying you're
she just brought up other
Yes.
other people, so
Gotcha.
like
Okay.
I have my person that I worry. No. She was endorsing the. Sorry, I'm getting into a different podcast.
All right, off the rails.
Yeah, no. Never mind. I do a podcast called Get on the Can of Bus with
Yes.
Ed Fortune, who is New Jersey Weed Man, and he's on the ballot if you live in Trenton. So if we have any Trenton listeners, make sure you vote for
Trenton.
Ed Fortune for Congress so that you have
City
an
of
activist.
New Jersey.
Yes.
In Congress. But he would refer to Massachusetts as the Caucasian Cannabis Corporation because they don't have a lot of black dealers. So that's why I laughed when you were saying that. But it kind of is what it is. That is the good thing about it, though. Like, New Jersey's probably going to legalize it very soon. And it'll
It's on
just
the back of the ballot.
Yeah, and like just normalizing it helps a lot of people get rid of the stigma in their lives, like outside
People
of it.
do really use it for medical reasons.
Yeah.
And a lot of things, which it just like goes. I'll make it really short, but just to the point that like I don't think a lot of people focus a lot of money or attention. I mean, they're like definitely doing more now than in the past, but towards people's mental health. It's always the last thing that anybody would have. Like that it wasn't your priority because like you can't see that disease or illness or whatever, like any your struggle or whatever. So then it's not there. But that's It is doing a lot better, but we can keep moving forward with that. That's my point.
I'm for the legalization of weed.
Yes, I am on board with it.
I'll say
as
I.
well. Yes.
So what's your movie?
My movie, I think I'm gonna go with. I guess like we could go with drugs. We'll continue with drugs a little bit. I'm gonna go with, and this is also my third mention, so like we might be wrapping up the mentions anyway. I'm gonna go with Half Nelson.
Oh, I knew you were gonna pick this.
Yeah.
I have
It's a
not
good one.
seen this movie.
It's just a classic Ryan Gosling role. Like, it is like a little white saviory, but it also like isn't because like he also kind of gets saved. So I guess it's like just friendship in a lot of ways between a teacher and a student.
Yeah.
Also, with Half Nelson. Wait, what was I just gonna? Half Nelson. I wanted to say something about you, but I forgot because I am ill-prepared. No, Half Nelson.
What a great song you composed.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. It was directed by Ryan Fleck. I don't know why. Yeah, I had nothing to say about that.
I don't know why.
I have no idea why I even brought that up.
Is it directed by him? I don't know why.
Yeah. Never mind. It's just a good movie.
Great performance from him.
Yeah, it's just a very indie performance, and like the actress Sharika Epps is also very good in it. Yeah, in general, I think that it deals with kind of the stress of being an adult and the stress of being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, as a kid, you have no control over anything, and like it just seems like everything's going on around you, and you also don't really know what's going on, which can be stressful sometimes to like not know what's going on and not being able to influence anything. But like when you're an adult, you like don't have anybody to help in a lot of ways, and like you really are on your own, and like you finally get that control, but like it's a lot of pressure to have that control over your life and like be the person who's solely responsible for getting yourself up in the morning and doing the job and like creating relationships and making sure you're successful.
I just love their relationship.
Yeah, it's just a very cute, low-budget film. Yeah.
I think this is when people started taking Ryan Gosling seriously, because not to be one of those people who's like, I knew about it first, but like, I was like in love with Ryan Gosling when I was like, I don't even know how old, like 9 or 10, because he did a lot of movies like in the early days, and I felt like he became like a bigger star with The Notebook, but he wasn't like on Oscars radar really. And then when he did Half Nelson and I think to a lesser extent Lars and the Real Girl, people were like, oh wait, like this person actually has a lot more depth than we thought, and I'm happy that he's been on that track because he's made so many great movies now, and he's just like, he's a superior person, I feel like.
He's mastered the art of subtlety, which not a lot of actors can be like
That's a very
effective
interesting
and
point.
subtle.
Yeah. He hasn't won an Oscar, right?
No, he's just been nominated.
Gosh, when will that be?
He'll definitely
It'll
win.
happen when it
He'll
happens.
win, yeah.
I'm just interested to see what role it will be for.
Me too. Because
What
is
movie
he
he'll finally...
Is he even 40 yet? No, right? He's pretty young.
No. We're gonna find out.
Wait, before it... Okay, you know. How old do you think he is, Jordan? Don't look! You
Don't
just look!
I didn't look.
Did
43.
you see it?
How old
He's
is
not
he?
43.
I mean, that's a good guess. Oh, no, you're right.
I'm gonna say 38.
Leah takes the cake.
Yeah.
She's not exact, but he is 39.
Oh,
You're
I
way
knew he
closer.
wasn't 40.
I thought he was 40 already.
Yeah.
Because I'm an
41.
Ryan
Wow.
Gosling was on the fucking Mickey Mouse
He's
Club.
30. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. It's weird though, because like as long as Ryan Gosling has been in my consciousness, he has been like much older. He's always been like very adult characters. So like I've never really identified him with youth or
You didn't
like
have a
being the Mickey Mouse Club.
Girl
yeah.
crush on?
I never
Didn't you see
identified
Murder by
as
Numbers?
Youth.
No.
Yeah, you should watch that. He was like 20 in that movie, and he was dating his co-star Sandra Bullock, who was like 40 at the time.
Wait, really? They were dating?
Yeah, Google them together. You'll see the pictures.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
they dated
job,
for, like, a while.
Ryan.
I just can't imagine Ryan Gosling like not as a dad. Like I
Aw.
feel like all of his roles are very dad roles.
Well, I don't
Except
know.
Crazy Stupid Love, I guess that's not
I
dad
think of
role.
him as more like... Yeah, I don't know if I think of him as a dad. I think of him as like the La La Land kind of guy. Like, still young, still trying to figure it out, but not that young. Like, maybe a little too old to have not figured it out yet. Like, that kind of in-between person, but...
That is
He
really
does
his
have
character.
kids with Eva Mendes, right?
30-year-old
they
who
do
hasn't
have.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Which didn't he have to like really push for her to be casted in why am I blanking?
Drive.
Yeah.
Drive is.
No, wait.
one of
Is
the
that
great
have they been
movies.
in more than one movie together? Ryan Gosling
they
and
were
Eva
in...
Mendes?
Eva
Mendes
Beyond the Pines,
isn't
I think that's what it
in-
is.
She's not in Drive.
Oh no!
No,
never mind.
The Place Beyond the
She's
Pines.
in Place Beyond the
I
Pines.
said
Yeah.
yes, and I just couldn't. I just honestly did not know remember the name of the film. Yeah, which was I don't know. I thought that was like really interesting, which I didn't know. I was just reading something where they did not take Eva Mendes seriously, and they were not considering her for the role at all. And then he kept pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing, and then finally, that's how like she got so many other people's attention. They started really like being like, oh wait, who is this?
Well, she has that...
People argue that that's her best performance. Which,
Well, I don't think she's
know.
ever really had that great role because she fell into that trap of like, she's gonna play the sexy person and that's all that she is. You know what I mean? And I've seen her play that in so many
Hitch.
movies. Like in The Other Guys.
Yes.
How like
Yes.
she's
Yeah.
his wife and no one can believe
Yes.
that. You know?
Yeah, Will Ferrell's wife, yeah. Yeah, I mean, who knows though? Maybe she'll come back and she just like, because actresses reinvent themselves like after they've had a family or whatever, but then they go back in and then they're offered this opportunity when they're much older and then they just like, boom, like wow, you're like, oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
also.
I don't know, like Nicole
lived
Kidman,
in.
for example, which like
Yeah.
she has a very different career, but I feel like her roles as she's like her age now are way more pushing of the boundary than
Yeah.
I guess what she was that comfortable with when she was younger. Yeah, I don't know. I guess like she's sometimes being a little bit riskier as she gets older, which
Yeah, I mean,
I
she
think
has-
is really, really great.
She has one of the most varied careers, I think, of anyone
I love it.
ever. You know, I mean, I never know what the hell she's going to be in or what she's going to do. It's
Which is
interesting.
Which is the best place I like to be in mentally when I'm thinking of an actor. I want it to be unexpected and be like, I don't know what you're gonna throw at me, but I'm gonna be so wowed.
Yes.
That's my thing. Are you done, Jordan?
Yeah.
You done? Moving on? Okay. Freedom Writers. Wrote that
Ooh.
on my list. Hilary Swank.
I never watched it.
Whoa.
Interesting. Yeah, like, I mean, I will IMDb it, because I don't know if there's really any other, like, big names that I wanted to cover. But yeah, it's just, like, her as a teacher in this urban school, and, like, that community of kids where it's basically, you know, teaching them to learn, like, tolerance, apply themselves. Like, she was helping with their education, but going, like, beyond, because there was violence at the school, or, like, the way kids would just talk to each other, not respect each other. Another teacher who's just, like, teaching really, really bold, like, just valuable life lessons. But I also thoroughly enjoy Hilary Swank when she is in any role, because I think she is quite powerful, and it doesn't even have to be like a very dramatic role. She really stands her ground.
Well, she's one of the only actresses who's won Best Actress in such a close succession. Like, she won for Boys Don't Cry in 2000,
Yes.
and then
Oh my gosh, that
Million Dollar
movie.
Baby in, I think, 2006. So
$1 Million. She's definitely.
Yeah.
That's an iconic movie.
Oh.
The last time, like, Clint Eastwood did something
I was
that you
like-
could actually be on board with.
I was like, what happened, Clint Eastwood, where you make such dark, like, disturbing films?
I
Where
think he's overrated as a director.
He's just become, like, alt-right.
Hot take.
Like, he's just racist now
Like,
in
he
all the
has-
films he makes. It's all about how he's a white man in America and how hard it is to be an old white man in America when the other people are coming in.
Yeah, I think he peaked, like, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but I really love Bridges of Madison County, and for him directing and acting in that, I also think he's, like, kind of, like, he's not my favorite actor either, but I think in that movie, he really just nails, like, that situation that they're in and how tough it is and how romantic it is, but he's, like, very, I don't know how to describe his performance. It's just damn good. Like, that's how I'll always remember him.
Clint Eastwood, you're damn good.
He's just been acting forever.
Ever, since 1955.
Give the jobs to somebody else at this point. Jesus Christ.
That's what my dad said when I was going to see Paul McCartney. He's like, he's still doing that. Give someone else a chance. And I was like, it's not hindering anybody else from doing it. Like,
Yeah, honestly, who is Clint Eastwood taking roles from right now? I guess, like, Steven Seagal? No, I don't know.
The
my
younger
God.
roles he'll just give to his son, which his son's very handsome.
His son is very handsome.
Alright, we
Am
pass the
I-
baton to Leah.
am I doing another? So is this going to be my last one?
This is going to be the final one before we get into bad education.
Okay, well, I have so many that I'm just going to mention without saying anything else. Matilda.
Oh,
Never Been
so
Kissed.
good.
Center Stage. Legally Blonde. And A Single Man. All highly recommended movies, but the pick that I'm going to actually talk about is Election.
Nice, I'm glad I didn't put it on my list.
I thought you were going to, that's why I held back, but now that I know you're done. So Election is I think it's one of the most perfect movies ever made. The script is unbelievable. The editing is absolutely just, like, I'm gonna just keep using the word perfect, I guess. But it's this fascinating story about this teacher played by Matthew Broderick. It's beyond, I mean, no offense to the rest of his career, but it's far and away the best performance he's ever given, and I don't think he'll ever give one better, because it's just, again, perfect. He plays this very average guy, this teacher. I think they live in Minnesota at a high school, and then in one of Reese Witherspoon's best roles. She plays Tracy
Iconic.
Flick. Oh, so iconic.
Like, that is the school politician archetype. Like, I don't think anybody could do that better.
No, I mean, it's just, again, like, she's perfect.
She is really, really
and,
good for that role, yeah.
She's this overachieving, overbearing, super, super, super intense student who wants to be class president, who wants to go on to become president of the United States and all of that, and she will stop at nothing to succeed. And the two of them have just like they come from very different places, and the places that the story goes, you're not always expecting it. And I don't know what to say, because it's like one of those movies that I love so much that I kind of don't really feel like I could talk about, because I'll just sound like I'm, like when somebody meets the love of their life and you're just like, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. like, I'm not in that place right now, so I'm not with you. Like, just calm down. That's how I feel about it.
Do you think it's the best Alexander Payne?
That's really hard to say. It's really hard to say, but I probably would say yes. Because, I mean, I love every single one of his movies except Downsizing. I think he very rarely misses the mark, but this was just one that's so good. And I mean, even like the Chris Klein character and that whole thing, and then his sister Tammy, like that whole plot line is fascinating to me. And I love the juxtaposition of the two of them, and then, Tammy going against Tracy is so good. And just, like, Reese Witherspoon's energy in this movie is so on. Like, she's one of those people that I really feel like was born to act, and there was like nothing else that was going to happen, like even if she was determined to do something else, which I think I remember her saying in an interview she was going to be like a doctor or something. It's not, that doesn't matter, like she's like, she was destined to do this, and it just was very obvious. And I'm just like, every time, I don't have cable anymore, but it was one of those movies that every time it was on, no matter what, I would sit and watch it. And I had seen it so many times, and I knew every line, but it just didn't matter, And Matthew Broderick plays the teacher. I don't know if I said that. And he's constantly, like, trying to appease her. Like, he's one of those people that has, like, all this shit going on, but, like, at the school, he just tries to be this nice guy. And, okay, Jim, yeah, come up. Why don't you read that for the class, But inside, he's, like, losing his mind. And there's, like, this spiral that he goes through in the movie that is just so good. And yeah, I love the ending is so funny, and just, yeah.
It's a very good film for showing how teachers are still, like, trapped in, like, the school, like, role at times. Like, even though they're the authority figures sometimes, like, you could tell that, like, this film touches on the fact that, like, he felt insecure in school, and, like, he probably thought if he became a teacher, he would get on top of his life and, like, be in charge finally. But, like, he still feels awkward every day, like, he's in school still.
Yeah. It's one of those movies that's really about how, like, we're all just people, and we have, like, these roles that we play, but we have, like, all these things that we want. And we feel, like, so overwhelmed by the fact that, like, this is the thing that we want right now, and this is the thing that we need right now. And sometimes, like, there are people that will just stay in those distinct roles for the rest of their lives and will not play into their desires, and then there are people that will do whatever they need to do in order to achieve those desires. And sometimes it happens to success, and sometimes it's a disaster. And I really think what makes this movie strong is, like, obviously the acting, but, like, the pacing and the editing and stuff. It's just, like, it rolls along so perfectly. It hits every note it's supposed to hit. It's, it's 2 hours, but it just doesn't feel that way. It's just one of the most, like they excel in every area in this movie, and it's one of those times where I think everything just aligned perfectly in the stars to make one of the top tier movies of our lifetime.
Do you think there's a more iconic actor in the world, more iconic in parallel teacher and student roles? Ferris Bueller and this?
Oh, that's
Whoa.
interesting. I thought you were talking about him and Reese Witherspoon.
No.
Yeah, same. That's what I thought you were going.
Yeah.
No, but I love
Because, like, he's
Ferris
famous
Bueller,
for being a
yeah.
student and skipping school, but then he's also famous for being a teacher in that.
It would be great if someone did, like, a cut of them together somehow.
That would be
that would. I wonder if that's ever happened. That would be funny. I would love that. But yeah, I don't know. That's a great question, Jordan.
I'd have to think hard about
like,
that.
Who would be like
and
Maggie?
Do some research.
Gyllenhaal? Did she have a high school role? If she had a high school role,
Because she's in Kindergarten Cop.
Like
Kindergarten Cop, Kindergarten teacher.
Adrian Brody in like Detachment. Did he have a high school role ever? Like those are the people I can think of. But like Matthew Broderick, like his career was defined by those two roles probably.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's the only role that I.
And then he killed somebody in a drunk driving accident, and then he became a commercial pitchman. I think.
What?
Or maybe it was not drunk, but like.
In real life?
I think he like killed somebody in real life.
He did accidentally.
So then I think he kind of stepped out of
You're right. Sorry,
life for a little bit.
I completely forgot about that for a split second, and I was just like, oh snap, that actually happened.
Yeah. That was one of those things that like would always pop up like as clickbait, like. Check out what celebrities killed someone, and it would be like him and like Laura Bush or something, and you're just like, oh okay.
Yeah. It sucks.
Also, Caitlyn Jenner killed somebody.
Who else? Oh, Rebecca Gayheart. I talked about her in the last episode.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of.
Because this shit happens.
Celebrities.
Well, if you have money, you could get out of liability for
they have the best lawyers.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like it's like the teetering line of an accident and like purpose, and like if you're rich it's just overly an accident, and if you're poor then they make it look like you did it on purpose and then you have to go away for the rest of your life. Yeah, so close all the prisons.
On that note.
Bad
open
education.
up the schools, yeah. Yeah, that is a good note. Yeah. This movie had a lot going on. I had not heard a lot about it going.
Oh,
I did. Yeah, same.
Okay.
I was very excited to watch it.
So we're pivoting to Bad Education, which you can find on HBO Max. And
or the HBO channel on Amazon, or the HBO channel on Roku.
Jordan did his announcer voice.
Or the HBO channel on Sling, if you decide to get that add-on.
I didn't even what is Sling?
Sling is
For
TV.
Live TV.
Live.
$30 a month.
Basically, if you buy Sling TV, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, it costs as much as a cable subscription.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
There's
much
so many
cheaper.
of those now. I can't like keep up with them.
Yeah, Sling was one of the originals, I think. But
So
thoughts.
Initial thoughts, yeah.
Bad Education.
Yeah, totally. I was like I was saying, when you brought it up, I was not excited to watch this movie whatsoever. I thought I was gonna hate this movie.
Why?
I think the marketing was bad on it. Like I just don't. I don't think I had any idea. Like I thought it was gonna be a bad comedy. Like there are so many bad teacher or bad it feels like it's a bad comedy. That's people just got paid a big paycheck to do. That's what this film felt like when I saw the marketing.
Yeah, I had no idea what it was actually about, and I just remember kind of seeing it in passing and being like, I don't need to see that. But then I was looking at a list of best movies of 2020, and it was very high on the list, and on Letterboxd it had a 3.7, which is pretty high for Letterboxd, and I love Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney. And someone said, this is his best performance, which, after seeing it, it was a phenomenal performance, but I still think his performance in Prisoners is better.
Oh my gosh.
Shit, I still
have to watch that. Don't say anything. Yeah,
Stop.
He has not seen Prisoners. I know.
I need to go with my Denise Mills way.
But, okay, I'm not going to spoil anything, but be ready to watch that movie. It is dark.
Yes.
If you're in a bad mood, if you're feeling depressed that day, do not watch that movie. Wait for a day when you're, ready.
Also, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
Really good in that movie.
I heard him talking about it.
They're both it was done very well. The production was very, very good. And it was very suspenseful and great twist, and yes.
It's it's one of the best movies of the past 10 years. I put it on my top 40 of the past 10 years list with you.
Yes, this is true. Yeah, I heard Jake Gyllenhaal on the Team Deacons podcast, which is a very great podcast if you are a deep film nerd and want
I don't know this podcast.
It's Roger Deakins and his brother James Deakins,
oh my God.
and they just interview people that they worked with, and they have a lot of interviews from professions in the film industry that you don't hear from on a regular basis. Like, they have production designers, they'll have cinematographers or assistant directors, like people who aren't usually front and center, but have worked with some of the greats.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like how they highlight that.
Significant on a film. Yeah, it's very cool. Especially because, like, Roger Deakins is probably one of the GOAT cinematographers. Like, if his name is on a film, like, you just know it's going to be one of the most beautiful films that you've ever watched.
Wow.
It's, like, him and, like, Caleb Deschanel and, like, Emmanuel Lubezki. Like, those are the, like, cinematographers. And, like, yeah, I feel like those are the iconic ones that if you, like, watch a like how to do cinematography video, like, they just show all of their movies.
Ooh, wait, what is it called again?
The Team Deakins podcast.
Okay.
Team Deakins.
I'm writing this down.
Spell Deacon.
DEA, like the Drug Enforcement Agency. I hope you're not listening, you pigs. KIN, like your family, and then S, like Superman.
All right.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I won a spelling bee once. My teacher was very proud of me. I'm just kidding. I never won a spelling bee.
I did, and I got 3rd place. Or was it
Aw.
5th? I don't remember.
I competed in
I still
one.
have the award.
I was embarrassed in front of the whole school. It was really bad.
What word?
Because, okay, I knew how to spell the word, but I didn't ask for a definition, and the word was weather. So I spelled it wrong because I didn't ask for the definition, but I spelled it right. It just wasn't the one they needed.
Oh,
like, are you fucking kidding me? I still spelled. If I had spelled the wrong word wrong, okay, fine. But I spelled the wrong word right. Like, they could have just been like, okay, it's actually the other one. Can you spell the other one? Like, can you spell the one it actually is?
Oh my god.
I was like 12, and the whole school was watching. It was in front of everybody, and then everybody was like, oh my god, like, bullying me for like the next few weeks.
Oh please, they all could have made the same mistake.
Exactly.
Just put Reese Witherspoon on their ass.
I know. I was like, you're jealous. I'm even in the spelling bee. You were sitting on your ass watching me.
Exactly. Who's up here on the stage? Not you.
Exactly.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm glad I got to share
Spelling
my
bees.
grief.
Yeah. So bad education.
Yeah, the Long Island accents, which I don't think Hugh Jackman's accent was that good, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like just Allison Janney was just way better.
Hers was perfect.
At it. Like, she's just very, she embodies every character when she's casted, like, whatever character she's assigned when she's in any production, she's just... It's just so great. Also, just like, she doesn't even have to say any lines. I could just watch her face.
Absolutely.
And like just what she does with her facial expressions when like certain scenes go down, and just like how she's absorbing the information and like her, feelings coming out of it, and also the dialogue for it being so quick when they're going back and, which I don't know if that was editing or they also like wanted on purpose to run like that, which I think they did, but how, like just the essence and culture of Long Island schools, and how Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney were, anytime they were just talking or going back and forth. And also, Raymond. Oh my god, why am I blanking? What's his? Everybody loves Raymond.
Ray Romano.
Oh, Ray
Romano, thank you. I was like, what's his last? Romano, yes. Ray Romano, I was just like, he's in this movie? I don't know. I did not know he's in this movie, but I love when he pops up.
Me too. He's great.
So that was really, really cool. Yeah, and definitely how the plot was just intertwined, where I really could not figure out sometimes where it was going. Some of the things I did call, I was just like, oh my god, is it this thing? Or like, is this about to develop? But there were definitely more surprises than I thought there were going to be.
Yeah, and I love the relationship between the two lead characters. Like, their friendship, like, the scene with the sandwich I thought was great. Like, that was one of my favorite scenes. You could tell the connection between them, and that's You know, like, movies that linger on shit are not as good. Like, they take this one scene, it's like, this is who these two people are, you get exactly the relationship, like, you've either had that relationship before, or you've seen it, and you understand what it is between them, and that just makes it so much more satisfying as the plot, you know, thickens. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I was gonna say the same thing about Allison, like, her face, that's it. Like, that's all you need to, like, everything is on her face within a second. Like, I just love, the director was really smart to just hold on her face without anything else. That's exactly what I would do if I had her. Exactly what I would do.
Because she holds a lot of power with that. Like, there's a lot you could just read from it. It's just exceptional.
I also thought her old age makeup was really done really well. Like, it was very believable. You know, I follow her on Instagram, so, like, I feel like I've seen her in a lot of stuff, too, but, like, she posts, like, semi-regularly, so I know that's not, like, how old she looks, you know? And, a lot of the time, old age makeup is not subtle. And the thing is, because she's not that far away from the age that she was supposed to be in the thing, so it has to be, like, subtle, you know? You can tell.
Well done,
Yeah, it was just, I just really liked that.
I could not get over how much gel Hugh Jackman's hair had, which I knew was such, like, I was just like, oh my god, just.
Well, the whole thing with his appearance, you know, is like he's one of those people that should have pursued show business. Like, he wants to be on a stage, he wants to be looked at, he wants to look like he has everything together, he wants to be applauded. I mean, that, you know, that I think speaks, like, the ending speaks a lot to that, too, you know?
It does. I did like how... Okay, so did you guys find the ending entirely satisfying?
Can we not get...
Not that yet?
Wait, are we
oh, no, not to spoil it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we make sure we announce before we do spoilers.
No, I did not mean in specifics. I literally meant for you guys just to say yes or no. Like, I should have prefaced that. But
well, considering it's based off of a true story...
Which is also what I did not know.
I think they tied everything together in a satisfying way that, like, made sense.
Oh, you're right. They had text at the end. I forgot about that.
I thought it was good. Like, I like the ending. I mean, overall, like, the movie I wouldn't say is, like, you must watch this. I would say the must-see elements are really the two lead performances. And even, like, his former student performance, I really liked that guy, too.
Also, it's, like, this is a film, like... I feel like this film has less of a punch now that we know, like, the Lori Loughlin, like, the cheating scandals with the colleges and stuff like that. Because, like, I feel like now we know the lengths that, like, rich people will go to, like, increase the standards on their schools and, like, the way that they'll go to make things more corrupt.
Yeah.
But I still think this had an impact because it happened in 2003.
Oh, yeah,
It was set in 2003, and there's, like, also just things specifically tied to Hugh Jackman's character that were, like, like, the time period was important.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think also, though, like, that was, like, your comment was kind of insightful in that, like, if this had come out a few years ago, like, people are just so oversaturated now with, like, this college admission scandal and everything, and you know what I mean? So,
which is ridiculous because, like, this was huge, but it happened way before the college scandal snowball started to happen, and this was... I didn't even know about this true story. Like, I'm saying, it was just complete... I mean, yes, I was a lot younger when it was, 2003, but it... Like, so I definitely wasn't aware to...
Oh, my...
My surroundings, what?
I just realized who one of the characters was. That was Raphael Casal, the guy who's from Blindspotting.
Oh.
Sorry, guys, for that weird interruption.
No.
I was like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Like, why do I recognize him? Like, he looks so wrong. Like, I keep looking at him because, like, in Blindspotting, he's, like, tatted up to be, like a gangster white dude. Like, he's playing, like, a white dude who wants to be black from Oakland, basically. Like, in Blindspotting, and, like, this is a very different character. He was the younger lover of Hugh Jackman.
Oh, I also did like the younger actors. What's his name? Oh my God, he was the head of the newspaper at the school.
Nat Faxon? Oh, no.
Alex Wolff.
Alex Wolff.
Yeah.
His brother's Nat. His brother's Nat Wolff, not Nat Faxon isn't
Yes.
somebody else. Okay.
He, and also the,
Alex Wolff is the one who
the
still
girl.
acts. Does Nat Wolff still act?
Yeah. They both act.
But was Alex the one who was in Hereditary?
whoever was
I
in
can't
Bad
remember.
Education was the same one in Hereditary.
One was in Hereditary, one was in Paper
Wait,
Cuts.
do they look very similar?
They look very similar.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So am I, oh my God. They're not twins though, right? What is their age
They're
difference?
not twins.
How similar do they look? Oh my God,
Pretty
now I'm going to have to
similar.
look this up because I don't know who's who. I did not know.
Wait, what was Nat Wolff in?
Paper Towns.
I've never seen that. Ah, so okay. So he did like a lot more of like the high school films, like when he was younger.
Yeah.
But then
Like,
Alex
I knew of
is
him
kind of playing-
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm friends with their manager from the Naked Brothers band.
Right. Are you gonna do a naked band?
What?
Are you gonna do a naked band?
What do you mean?
I want to see you naked, you and Brendan.
What?
You're
they
the
were
new
naked
Naked
because they were
Brothers.
kids. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
Are you not following this? Like,
No,
what?
now I'm following it.
Okay.
Did you not watch the show?
I didn't watch the
Oh,
show.
wow. Yeah, they weren't actually naked because they were kids when it was there. But they had a child manager on the show.
I mean, I figured that they were not actually naked, but, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, he was really good in it. Alex Wolff.
Yeah, so Alex Wolff, who's in this movie, was also in Hereditary.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We were right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but they do look, wow, that's, wow.
Yeah. Also,
Wow.
very interesting who directed this film. Corey Finley,
Mm-hmm.
who his first feature, his premiere feature, was Anton Yelchin's last film, Thoroughbreds.
Oh.
Yeah.
I still am so upset about that, man. He was so good.
Yeah, very sad. But that film is like in its own world. Like that is like a very unique and cool film.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that he went to this, which is like very straightforward. Like it's
Right.
like it
Mainstream.
won Best TV Movie for the Emmys. So that's why we didn't really hear about it a lot because it got picked up by HBO and then went on to regular HBO.
Did Hugh or Allison win?
He won, I think.
He won? Oh,
Or-
good.
Or he got the nomination. He didn't win.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, fuck whoever won.
Yeah.
No, I love him in this. He was great. I love that. Okay, we go into spoilers.
Spoilers. Turn it off if you haven't watched it and you don't want things spoiled.
We're gonna talk spoilers now. We will reveal the ending and other things.
So he gets caught.
They get caught, of course. I couldn't believe how much they actually embezzled. Like, here's the thing about white people, okay? I'm gonna
tell
break
us.
it down for you guys, okay?
What about white people?
White people can get away with crime up until a certain extent. If they had just embezzled half that or less, they would have gotten away with it. They would have gotten free money. That's all they had to do. But they got greedy. Like, I feel this is every crime movie featuring white people is about this. Like, it always pisses me off. Like, somebody will steal like $100,000 and it's like a, you know, nice young woman, and if she gets caught, she can either get away with it and claim she didn't do it, or she gets like a slap on the wrist and or whatever. But once that person is like has to put their hand back in the cookie jar, you know what I mean?
It was millions.
It was
Millions of dollars,
it
right?
was like
With their- with
$11
the
million
last total,
altogether.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
The
like
biggest scandal
that, but that
in
just
history
yeah.
for school education,
Yeah.
high school education.
It just shows you like what white privilege really is. Because even like first of all, when I was thinking of George Floyd, like with that scene at the end with the cops when like his boyfriend is like, put your hands on the thing. I'm like, they're not gonna shoot him. Like if it was a black person, he already would have been dead the first time that they said put your hands up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just
That's a very interesting point. I had the same feeling when I was watching it. Yeah, that was yeah.
you know. it
Also,
sucks.
Raphael Casal could tell you because he was in Blind Spotting.
He really could tell you. He knows what the
He
fuck
was in
is
that
up.
scene, and then he was in the other scenes.
Also, Ray Romano's character when he was saying, oh no, he wasn't saying, but they were sitting in the bleachers and Hugh Jackman's character was telling him that, like, obviously they got him to, like, 4th ranking, the school, and then him saying, like, how he made them all so much more money, and I don't think he said deducted, but, like, jeopard or sacrifice the teacher's salary, and I was just like, oh my god, there's
the
so
justifications are interesting, right? I feel like there are a lot of stories about people saying, like, yeah, I did this bad thing, but it's only because, like, I knew I deserved it. Like, I did all these other good things. Yeah. And I think that one thing I've learned in my, like, romantic life, my family life, now, like, with my company, good behavior doesn't cancel out bad behavior. And I'm the person who's constantly saying, oh, give that person another chance. Like, look at all these things that they did that were so good or whatever. And it's true. Like, somebody could literally be like Mother Teresa. But if they're secretly, like, embezzling millions of dollars and taking it out of taxpayers' pockets, it's like they're not thinking of that, you know, everyday New Yorker who's, like, paying extra in taxes to pay for their apartment and their plane tickets. It's like, how can you not care about other people to that extent? Like, just because they're not standing in front of you crying and saying, why are you taking my money? Like, the disassociation and the justification is really interesting. And that's another white privilege thing.
Also, this is, like... very similar to the place that my dad taught, which is, like, my dad taught in Westchester, and, like, just in America, your likelihood of going to elite colleges is just based off of your zip code. My dad happened to teach in a place that was, like, one of those zip codes where, like, people would get into major colleges, and, like, my dad could tell you he wasn't, like, a great teacher to the point where you could throw him into any school and he's gonna, like, get everybody A's no matter what. Like, he was a good teacher because, like, he listens to students and whatever, and the students had a lot of money where they came from. They would get tutors, and their parents were more active in their lives because they had more free time, because they had jobs that gave them free time because they were more upper class in, like, a lot of scenarios like that. And, like, I think this film does a good job of, like, showing how much pressure that puts on schools to, like, have to keep accelerating the school value so that the property value goes up, you know? That's just not natural and how it's supposed to be, you know? Like you said it yourself, they were sacrificing teachers for the sake of just putting on a facade on the school and making the school look like it's fake nice, basically, and, like, adding this bridge that they
were funneling into the skywalk, and then you seeing, like, the younger girl who's trying to be a journalist, like, pointing out that the ceiling's, like, falling apart, and then they have a leakage, and then they have, like, other stuff where they should be putting money towards, but I also think it was just very, parts of it was just being selfish. Like, it was just at times, like, interesting to watch because you're just, like, in the beginning of it, you're, like, introduced that, like, oh, wow, Hugh Jackman's character is, like, really down-to-earth guy. Like, he really cares about these kids and, like, the persona, like, who he was as a person. And then you peel back the layers and you're finding out he's a bad person. And they were just doing this for themselves, and the students were collateral damage. Like, they were the last thought. I mean, also, like, did enjoy the scene when he was just, like, talking to, who's that, like, the mom who kept complaining, like, for her son and kept, like, wanting to have meetings with him, and finally the kid came with the letter that he's trying to read, and then Hugh Jackman just, like, oh my god. That was a fun scene.
That was, like, very intense.
Yeah.
I love...
Accelerated!
Yeah. I love the last scene with him and Ray Romano. That was so good when he said, like he tries, like, one more thing. He's like, I can still get your son into Harvard, And you just know at that point, like, what Ray Romano's going to say, Like, he's like, some things cannot, like, be bought. Yeah. Some people can't be bribed. Yeah. Like, you've gone too far,
Yeah. They went so far, though. Like, that was such a high
amount
of
home
money.
renovation, like, an entire remodeling, and, like, that's thousands of dollars to... And then they had also other stuff for vacations and yacht, like...
That's also the class differential, though. Like, in these wealthy communities, then you have people who aren't as wealthy, and it's like keeping up with the Joneses. Like, how can I get the money? How can I get the money? And then it's like people end up stealing. You know, that's how you have school boards that are like the mafia, where it's like legit, they're just trying to get the contracts for all of their contractors so that they make all the money in the town, Like,
it's just not
it's
worth
literally
it,
they control
though.
the politics in a small town. Is like the school board decides how much the budget is, and like as long as they have good press, they just keep passing the budget. You know, so they literally were just getting blank checks year after year after year, and just taking advantage of all this stuff. So now we're in a point in America where all schools suck. And Republicans control all of our legislatures, and Democrats can't do shit about it because we let schools be corrupt. And, like, that's the reason why, like, education is so bad and people don't know what Trump is doing right now. It's because we let, like, people become superintendents who didn't actually care about the students. They cared about taking their trips and, like, going to their conferences to be like, this is the newest thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not focusing on your students and, like, how to actually, like, change their perspectives and, like, make them better human beings, like, what are you teaching them, you know? And I think that was a good dichotomy, the fact that Hugh Jackman's character ended up, like, hooking up with one of his former students, and, like, the student, like, wanted to hook up with him because he was like, wow, you were a really great teacher, yeah, like, it's really cool. And, like, you think that, like, the student is, like, the deadbeat because he hasn't, like, amounted to what Hugh Jackman saw him as when he was a student, but then you realize, oh wait, no, Hugh Jackman is the scumbag because, like, he pretended to be, like, this squeaky clean guy who, like, cares about the students and, like, does all these good things. Like, the Rafael Casal character at least, like, knows who he is and, like, puts it out there into the world and, like, lives the honest life that he was meant to live, you know?
So the line Hugh Jackman said, which might have been a little bit of foreshadowing, but when he was talking to the kid in that first meeting where he said he was terrible at math, and then I forgot what the rest, like, the middle part of the line, but it was basically that, like, he worked his way up and then became the coordinator of the curriculum, like, terrible at the subject and doing very poorly, and then and you're thinking, like, oh, like, he just worked hard at it and he was able to be accomplished. And he did work hard. Like, that's not, like, that's a thing where he was a very strong character and had a high intelligence, but he also slithered his way through. He was just able to play the game. And, like, the education in general is a business. And unfortunately, people know how to take advantage of that system and work it to their own agendas.
At the top, though, education is a business. That's, like, the most difference in any field, I think. I guess, like, besides, like, medicine, that's also the case. Like, at the simplest form, you should just help everybody, and it should just be about communicating with the body. But then, once you get insurance into the mix and you get administrators into the mix, that's when people get corrupt and they're like, well, like, if I'm going to rule over all of you and plan all this stuff, what's my cut? What's my cut for making sure that this all works? All of this stuff out here, you know? But that really is what it is in a lot of ways. It's like, who's skimming off the top where, you know? Like, the schools were skimming off of the rich people who live in the communities. Like, are they that mad that, like, the schools did this anyway?
The parents were outraged. They had that assembly.
Yeah, they were outraged, but, like, they live that kind of lifestyle. Like, Hugh Jackman's character just wanted to be rich, like the parents, probably. You know, he was a teacher who probably didn't make that much money, was gay, had a wife that died who he wasn't in love with.
Was that true? Did he actually have a wife that died? Because he was with his husband for 33 years. So that was fake, so he could have a ring on. Because that was what I'm saying, 2003, because it wasn't legal yet. Same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't, and that's why
they did kind of leave that.
That's why it was, but they insinuated that.
The cop was like, "Oh, are you legally married?"
Exactly.
Even though he knew that it wasn't legal.
That's why they had those.
I felt so bad for his husband when he showed the photo.
Oh my god! I was just like that. That's the other angle he's working because he didn't want to testify against him, and then he was just like, "Oh, when he's with," it's like, oh, ripping lives apart. So bad. And that's the thing too. It was a ripple effect. Any negative action you do always has a consequence, and you are not the only person affected. I think it is so arrogant and ridiculous for people to believe, like, oh, if I just do this like, it's my life if I make this decision and blah blah blah. But it's just like, you are compartmentalized by everyone around you. There is not just you. There is no just like you. Like, everybody affects everybody.
Yes.
I think it's hilarious though, like, when people think that nobody, like, checks the books. And
Well,
then,
their
like, that'd
auditor
just be
didn't catch
oversights.
it.
Because a lot of people don't, and a lot.
But like they do eventually. Like if you have like people doing the right thing for like eventually he was going to catch that. Like they just kept up with it so long. It's not like they did it once and like left it. Like there was some guy I used to work with, and we had an online like time system for our job. So like you would sign in when you got to work through like the website.
Yeah, same.
And he would be signing
Clock
in
in,
at like
clock out.
2 a.m. and clock in from like 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. and like never clock out and stuff like that. And he was like thinking that he gamed the system, and like he thought he got one over on his boss. Like they're just paying me, like it's all computerized. And it's like, no, you fucking idiot, you're gonna lose all of your scholarships and have to pay that back. And then of course like one day he just doesn't show up to work. And it's just like, oh, they definitely found out about this.
Well, that's why they changed the system that you can't clock in and clock out online unless you're on their IP address or their server. So you have to be at the place in order to do that. At least in my experience, that's how one was through the cloud, and then one was through the server in the office. So there wasn't, there's no way you could do it if you were not by your desk or not by your computer, like stuff like that.
Yeah, there's so many, like, when I was doing my, because I own a business, so when I had to, like, the first year that I had to report was 2019, and, like, I will not name names, but people I never thought would say shit to me said, like, crazy shit to me, like, oh, like, everybody cheats, like, just don't put this on there, or whatever, or, oh, like, you can write this off right now because we talked about your business, like, just, random meals and stuff, and, like, you should write off your Disney trip because it's research, and, like, all this shit, and I was just, like, not only do I not want to get in fucking trouble, but also, like, I believe in, like, karma. So for me, like, I do believe that, like, everything I do will come back to me.
Yes.
So, like, I'm not going to try to write off, like, my fucking Disney trip, you know what I mean? But, like, people do, like, Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like, people like that. Like, they write every single thing off. They argue.
$750.
Yeah.
Right, and they pay off their accountants so that their accountants argue it for them if the IRS has any issue. And then they pay off the IRS agents when they come around. And it's like, they just have so much wealth that it just doesn't...
It's not only wealth, you have friends in higher places.
Yeah.
You have people who owe you favors. And it's just like, you can't do it if you're only in that one position. But if you're tight with everybody else who's in the other positions managing that, then they'll just, overlook it for you. They'll just it'll just go by and they won't catch it.
White collar crime. It's so common, and you only
It is so common.
you just see movies like this that amounted to like $11 million or whatever, but there are people that steal $1 million and they go to jail or whatever. But again, if you're white, it's like,
Speaking of, at the end text, which also I was like baffled that even though he was sent to prison for 12 to 14 years, he was still getting paid at least $173,000
forever
a year because of his pension. I was like, how is that? I don't. Yeah,
But
they've upgraded that.
It sucks though,
law,
because
but
people definitely will take that and be like, oh, teachers shouldn't get tenure, like they shouldn't have job security because look what happens. Like I feel like that is one thing about this movie where it makes me be like, oh wow, this is just Republican propaganda.
One guy that messes
that. Like, look what happens when you give public places money.
But then he screws it up for
it.
everybody else.
Exactly. Like it makes me sad that this happened because it's just like, oh, see what happens. This is why we can't have nice things,
So by the time he came
out, $4 million that they could never get back in that school district that could have went to kids, could have went to a different school district in New York State, which there were schools in New York State that could have used that money.
Yeah. They could have used that fucking money. The ceiling was leaking. And by the way, the woman that was related to Allison and Janney, her name is Annalee Ashford, and she's
my gosh,
she's a Broadway star, and it's always so funny to me when Broadway stars are.
She's great.
She was so good, but it's just so funny because you would never know that she can belt out a high E above middle C because she's just playing this
I didn't know that she was a Broadway star until I started doing research after I saw her while I was watching her in Masters of Sex.
Yeah, she pops up in so I'm really happy for her. She's popping up in so many little things, but on Broadway she's royalty.
Because what is Broadway right now? So sad.
I'm so glad that I saw less shows before.
Next year, next May, hopefully that's their
Please, God.
deadline that they're putting on it, but I should have went and see theater more.
Yeah.
You don't know how good it is until it's gone.
I'm truly gonna, I spent a lot of money on shows and concerts before, but I'm truly gonna be broke all the time after this is over, because I'm just gonna be like if you didn't eat for 2 years. You know what I mean?
Just jonesing for
You
it.
would eat everything in sight.
Yeah. Well, now it's good, because, for last year and now the year ahead of us, we can all just, save money as if, well, I would have went to, 2 music festivals in this time, so I could just pretend that money is just sitting over.
Yeah, I've saved a lot of money this year not going to concerts.
Yeah.
Very true. Money you can just put up for next year.
All right. So, what else? Anything else about Bad Education?
I think we did.
I said everything I needed to say.
Do you recommend the movie?
Yes.
It's a TV
It's a
movie.
solid movie.
That's it's an HBO TV movie.
I would say what elevates it is the lead performances.
Yes.
So if you're a big fan of either one of those actors, then I would say it's a must-see. Otherwise, I don't really feel like it's a must-see.
The cast as a whole, I think.
Yeah, no, the cast is great.
There's people who pop up randomly and you're just like, how did they get this person in this film? And you're like, oh, well, it is kind of a low-budget film, probably, because there's not, special effects. You just have to show people in locations. But, yeah.
If you are just looking for something to watch.
Yeah, again,
night
it's low
or on a
stakes.
weekend, and you're just bored, and it gets really cold outside, you can just pop it on.
Just turn it on if you're not into it after 20 minutes. Turn on something else. It's the age of streaming, you know?
And luckily, this is the last HBO Max movie that we ever do, because we've done too many over the last 5 podcasts.
Welcome to the HBO Max podcast. I'm
Yeah.
your host, Leah.
We've done so much promo, so
Wow.
we're gonna have to move over to a different streaming app soon. We did Class Action Park, we did An American Pickle, and now we did this.
Oh my gosh.
True.
Yeah.
Love American
All
Pickle.
right. So, yeah, we all recommend the movie. And what else? What are we gonna do? Any plugs? Late Night
Yeah, when you guys are getting this podcast, we're going to probably be talking about Montclair Film Festival next. So if you're interested in watching films, get your virtual Montclair Film Festival pass. I will warn you, all of the films that were super hyped are sold out, and I'm pissed as fuck. I legit bought the festival pass just to see Nomadland, and then I bought the pass and realized it was a separate thing, and it was already sold out. And then I bought the pass because I was like, oh, at least I can see Minari, which is
for a virtual movie too, which
an
is
American Korean film that looks super good. And that sold out too, and that's virtual. Somehow they sold out virtual tickets. They're gonna keep me out of the Zoom room after I paid money to buy it and became a subscriber to Montclair Film.
Yeah, why?
Maybe they just can't have that many
The
people tuning in. I think it's maybe a technology thing.
To be honest, there's
can't
probably
have that
somebody who
many
bought
people
Minari, and they're like, we don't
I-
want people to see this for part of the festival. You can only sell 60 tickets because I don't want 300 people watching it.
Add it to the list, just like we're never gonna watch Tenet.
Yeah.
I really want to see Nomadland. That's high on my list.
It's such a bummer. It's legit coming to where you live, and they're not letting you see it because it was sold out before you even had a chance to buy the tickets.
Yeah, people definitely.
That's such bullshit.
Got in early.
Why would they not just have multiple screenings? It's not about
Is it
accessibility, I guess.
Is it a bandwidth thing?
Well, that one's drive-in, so yes, they have to limit people, but it's everybody wants to see this film, and you sold it out before the festival
They
tickets
could have
went on
done
sale.
multiple screenings. They probably would have made more money that way.
I totally forgot about. I haven't even been to the Montclair drive-in, but I don't know. Hopefully they'll open up. I Montclair Film in general. They normally open up more things after screenings sell out. So
Oh, okay, hopefully there's hope.
who knows?
Hopefully there's hope.
Fingers crossed.
To hope.
I hope there's hope.
But yeah, regardless, we're going to be talking about New Jersey films. I think Reena and/or Brendan O'Brien is going to be on that episode about the Montclair Film Festival. So we'll watch all the features, tell you what to look out for, what's the good stuff, because I'm pretty sure for the virtual films, you get to watch them at any time over the 2 weeks. So hopefully I'll be able to release this episode after I've watched like 10 films or so that you guys could know, like, oh, this is what I have to watch. This is what I don't have to watch. Yeah, but in general, check out our Instagrams, check out our Twitters, subscribe, tell your friends about this. If you guys know anybody who would want to be a guest, who has something specific and special to say about film, hit us up.
At Movie Cinema Film on Instagram.
At Movie Cinema Phil.
On Twitter.
Reena, do you have anything to plug? This is probably coming out next week, so it's going to be after Urban Renaissance, probably.
At Late Night Hump.
I just wish everyone a wonderful day, week, night, morning, whenever you're listening to this, and just be positive. COVID is gonna fucking end. Just leaving you with just some positive vibes, I think, is more important than me plugging anything right now. Just conquer every day because you own it and you're worth it.
You got it, bitch. Don't
Wow.
worry.
Any plugs, Leah, before we leave? Oh, good.
I'm at Capria Moon.
And I'm at Jay Freeze, JFREEEZE.
At Reena Ezra here.
Yay. All right. Thank you so much, Reena, for being a guest.
Thank you so much for having me, you beautiful people.
The multi-talented Reena Ezra, ladies and gentlemen.
Anchor.fm/movies cinema film -support. Donate money to us monthly so that we can quit all